Well, we're on our best behaviour today because we have the Chronicle editor, Paul Robertson, here. I'm already in the doghouse for the editor thinks I've given Newcastle 2 high marks tonight in the with a goal to score with Middlesbrough. Nzogby 5, Dyer 5, Martins 5.
Solano 9, Bramble 8. I thought you were very generous. I have to say, Alan, you panned them last week, and I wasn't at the Wigan game, so. Yes. But I was at the Boro game in my usual season ticket, and I have to say it's one of the worst games I've ever seen. Middlesbrough were abject. I predicted 0-0 before, and everything that I predicted came true. I thought Newcastle lacked invention. Fair enough, they were the only team trying to win, but I have to say it was the most boring game I've seen at St James's Park for many years, and that includes the 0-0 draw with Charlton. It really was the sort of game that you think, why do I go?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It wasn't the best of games. But do you not think if Newcastle had got the goal that perhaps deserved, even if they won 1-0, everybody would have been looking at it in a different light?
I think they probably would. But I mean, what was worrying for me is that they talk about the Tyne-Tees derby. There was no passion there, and it was like watching at times 2 schoolboy teams. There was when the goalkeeper was going to kick the ball out. There was one period where everybody was in the final third, like the centre third of the field. There was no width. James Milner was trying to create width, but I thought Downing was pretty anonymous, so there was a lack of width there. And there was one, when the ball went in the middle, there's about 4 players. Scott Parker was in amongst it going for it. And I just thought, this is like watching schoolboy football. And I really felt that it was a very poor performance and an opportunity missed with so many draws for Newcastle to climb up the league again.
You mentioned the crowd. I think what was one of the most disappointing things on Saturday for me was the way that the Newcastle fans were out-shouted by a couple of thousand Middlesbrough supporters, and I couldn't believe that, really.
I think Newcastle fans have been worn down by the performances, though. I think yes, the fans have a part to play, but the players have to rise to the occasion, and I just feel that it was such a flat performance all around that it's hardly surprising that the fans got up for it. I mean, one of the lads I was with, that I sit with, his wife was doing the decorating, and he said to me at the end, I wish I'd stopped in and painted the wall with Warlass. And another lad says, well, you'd be better off using a brush. And that caused a lot of laughter. And we were the only 3 people walking out the ground laughing, because everybody had their heads down. I mean, you look at what the punters panel say tonight. You're normally very good at panning them, but I do think that you've been over generous with it.
Well,
Nobby Solano, for example, 9. He had a magnificent second half, and some of his tackles and defences. I could probably live with him being man of the match, but his distribution was as bad as everybody else's in the first half.
Well, you know what to say. Football's again. But Paul, you said you weren't at Wigan. I was at Wigan, and I was so disgusted at what I saw that maybe it's the fact that they showed a little bit more fight and just a little bit more invention. I mean, let's not forget they had 5 good chances.
Yeah.
Milner hit the bar. Parker's header, if the goalie hadn't been there, was a goal. Dyer should have had a penalty. Arker's admitted that there should have been a penalty. There was a Parker shot inches wide. And I think if Newcastle had got a goal, it would have been different.
But football's an entertainment industry, though, Alan. And to me, I was just not entertained, and I'm finding it more and more difficult to justify spending so much time. I've been a fan, as you know, for many years, a season ticket holder for many years. I've been going since the days of Malcolm MacDonald, and I can honestly look at the players now, and you can't relate to them now like you used to, especially since Shearer went. And I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, entertain me. And on Saturday, I didn't get any of that.
Well, can I ask you, would you rather be entertained and Newcastle not win, or Newcastle win, maybe it's like they did against Liverpool when they were rather lucky?
Of course, you'd always want your team to win.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there seemed to be no pattern to the play. Let's be fair. Middlesbrough came for a 0-0 draw. Their lack of chances were amazing. But there we are, side by side at the centre of the league, fighting to be top dog. Sunderland, look like they're going to come up. And you just think Sunderland would give either of those 2 teams a good game on the showing of Saturday.
Looking at, Paul, you were editor at Middlesbrough. Gareth Southgate's come out and said that suggested Middlesbrough is a bigger club because they're taking 4 points off Newcastle, which is absolutely rubbish because Newcastle's done the double over Spurs this season somehow. You know what I mean? I look at Middlesbrough, 1 trophy in 128 years. Whenever you see them on the telly, they can't fill the ground. I can't accept what Gareth Southgate's good, but you've been on both sides.
Yeah,
of that,
having been down there, I've got a lot of respect for Middlesbrough. I think they've got a great setup there, ground, great chairman. They've invested in the club, and their fans are as passionate as Newcastle's. But to say they're a bigger club is a nonsense. Newcastle's got a much bigger base, much bigger fan base, much bigger following, and therefore they are a bigger club. That there's no doubt, and they can't argue that Sunderland's a bigger club than Middlesbrough as well. But I'm not decrying Middlesbrough. No. Middlesbrough do what they do well, and I've got a soft spot for them for the time being down there. But it's a nonsense to say that they're a bigger club than Newcastle.
Which leads